Well, Lakers Nation, it's been real, y'all. It's been really real for the last 19 years. But unfortunately, I got to take my talents to somewhere else, somewhere where I could be respected as a fan no matter what happens. So I will be taking my fan likeness to the Indiana Pacers. Thank you, Pacers Nation. It's good to be a part of your guys' culture. Okay, that's what I want to talk about in our conversation today. Is it worth it to still be a Lakers fan after the team got sold for the second time in less than a year? That's insane, in less than a year. So long story short, the answer is yes. I'm still going to be a Lakers fan till the day that I die, no matter what. And if you're wondering why I got a Hallie jersey on, it's because I am a Lakers fan first, but secondly, I'm an NBA fan and I love Hallie's game, so I had to get one of his jerseys. Don't judge. You can be a fan of a team and a fan of a player. I'm not a fan of the Pacers, but I am a fan of Hallie. But that's beside the point. Let me put this back on. I got some notes here because I'm a notes kind of guy and it's hard to remember everything that I'm going to need to discuss. But I'm going to do the best to be as nuanced as I can without delving too deep into everything, because if I were to delve into everything that the new owners have done, then it would take a long time to fully understand what it means to have them be our owners. Okay, so let's start off with Bob Iger, who is, I think, the more well-recognizable one of the two between Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. So Bob Iger was the CEO of Disney for a long time. He was a driving force in Disney acquiring Marvel, Star Wars, Lucasfilms, a bunch of other stuff, and basically building Disney into the enterprise it is now. And based on that, he's a smart businessman. He makes calculated risk and assesses what's worth buying and what's worth not. And he's led Disney to create so much of this money, and he could do that with the Lakers, but that is where it gets a little scary because the Lakers aren't an organization like Disney. They're a team. They're a culture. They're not just an IP that's supposed to make you money. So if he treats it like it's Disney, like it's Star Wars, where you're pumping out a bunch of movies trying to gain as much money as you can, then it's not going to work, and it's just going to be obvious to the fans and hopefully to sponsors that, yeah, you're trying to just make as much money as you can. You don't care about the fans. But with that being said, he has had a track record of making sure that his IPs and whatever Disney acquires ends up getting more value in the long run. He has. So the Lakers could definitely be another thing where they gain value in the long run. They're already very valuable. I mean, $12 billion, that's insane. But he could bring it up to an even higher number than that. Another thing about Iger that I noticed was just that after he wasn't CEO for Disney, Disney didn't have a plan. That's why he came back to be CEO again. And is he going to have a long-term plan for the Lakers? Because he is getting up there in age. I believe he's 75 years old. And so the Lakers have to have a plan for once he does retire, because I'm sure he doesn't want to work until he's 90. And I mean, that kind of leads me to Josh Kushner, because he is younger than Bob Iger. He does obviously have more time to work with the Lakers if he does decide to keep the team for many, many years to come. And I'll get to him right now, but the last thing I want to say is, if you believe Bob Iger killed Disney, he honestly didn't. He brought it to new heights, and unfortunately, some of that greed did go to making these IPs like Marvel or Star Wars oversaturated. But if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, he did do great in acquiring different brands, different businesses that would help Disney and their brand. So do I like Bob Iger? I mean, I don't know him as a person. I just know his statistics, and statistically, he has shown that he is smart. So I could appreciate that. But we'll have to see what he does with the Lakers and what plans he has with the Lakers. And you can't exactly judge it based on what he did with Disney, because the Lakers aren't Disney. They're a sports franchise. That's way different. So I am eager to see what he does. And I'm a little worried because I know it could go down the route of just money, money, money. But it could also go down the route of winning and making sure that we respect the legacy of the Lakers while continuing it today. And then I did mention Josh Kushner. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about him. The reason I made this video was kind of to talk more about Bob Iger. But from what I've seen and what I've read just in like the past hour, I've noticed that even though he is associated with a political figure, I won't mention it, because ultimately my point with what I'm gonna say is that it doesn't matter who he's related to as long as the team doesn't become based around that. If he focuses not on the politics of the team, just on what the Lakers need, then I think Josh Kushner could be a good owner for us. And I mean, I'm biased because from what I've read, the two CEOs are actually a part of the Democratic Party, and I respect that if they are. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because sometimes people say that they are, or they go independent like Bob Iger did. He is classified as an independent. But ultimately, that's what I'm saying, that politics in sports and in with the Lakers in this case shouldn't be the main case. It should be if they're going to do a good job and they're not going to bring these political ideologies into basketball, whether that be a Republican viewpoint or a Democratic viewpoint or an independent viewpoint, then I could respect that. And it is a hard line because politics are everything nowadays, but ultimately, I just want to see people play some basketball. And if you could keep politics out of this, keep the arguments out, then do that. So hopefully it doesn't get too political in the basketball atmosphere with the Lakers. So my main concern, it does get too political. Now you got a split, a divide, because not everyone is going to believe the same thing. My second concern is that the Lakers are only treated as a brand, as the next Disney, when they're not. They're a sports organization, they're a sports team. So you can't do apples to oranges. They're completely different. And my third and last concern is that the acquisition for the price, $12 billion, that's a lot of money. How are they going to earn back that money? I mean, I would assume that ticket prices, merchandise, all this stuff is going to go up because it's so expensive. And I am concerned, as a fan that doesn't have a lot of money. I'm broke, I got no money, so if tickets are going to be $500, then I'm not going to be able to go and see my favorite players, when obviously I want to see my favorite players. I know that the season is only 82 games. You got to make as much money as you can in those 82 games, but you still got to support the fan. You got to make sure that the fan can come out to watch their own team. And I guess that's more of an issue for the NBA at large, because even the new expansion teams, those prices are insane. I'm pretty sure that Bob Iger and Josh Kushner were probably in the running for buying one of those expansion teams. And I know LeBron James wanted a piece of those expansion teams as well. And even he doesn't have enough money to acquire them because they're so expensive. They're in the billions with the B, not in the high millions. Yeah, I know $1 million is still a lot for an NBA team, or the millions is still a lot, but $1 billion, obviously it's even more, and it goes onto the fans, it goes onto the consumer, because now the consumer has to pay those prices, that luxury tax. So should we be worried about the Lakers' new owners? Not necessarily. You can't judge a book by its cover. I am hoping that they do a good job, and if they do, then that's great. And if they do a bad job, then I guess we go outside of crypto.com arena. Hopefully it gets changed eventually too. I don't know when their licensing is ending. How actually, because crypto is doing horrible. Okay, so we still got another 15 years of being crypto.com arena, but we go outside of Staples Center and we make sure that we write and say solid team. But that's about it for today, y'all. Hopefully you can come back to have another basketball talk, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.